Welcome back to Simulation Meets Reality, a special mini-series in collaboration with Fly FSM based at Coventry Airport in Warwickshire. In this video I'm going to be continuing on with everything that I have been doing. So Fly FSM is a company that specialises in training simulators but also allows the general public to fly in these, so you've got them for professional training and for the general public to get an experience of flying an aircraft. So far I've shown you the three simulators that they have: the A320, the 737-800 and the 747, and we've gone through an interview with the owner, Captain Chris Rigby, a pilot with over 23,000 hours in the air. After that, in the last video or the last episode, I was actually setting up an aircraft with Chris. So we were on the ground at the runway at Echo Golf Bravo Bravo. We'd set up the FMC, we'd set up the autopilot systems, we'd set up the aircraft all ready to go. It's now time to take off, it's now time to fly. So, without further ado, let's get on with it, and let's hope that I don't make a mess of it once again.
Minimums. So put the thrust levers up there to about 12 o'clock. A bit more. Put about 50% here. Make sure the engine. So here we're off the roll. Now push the thrust levers up to sort of try to bring those green lines up here, and then ask me to set the takeoff thrust.
Set takeoff thrust.
Okay. Takeoff thrust is set. Go the other way. Right forward if you want to go the right way. That's it.
It really does. You really need to kick these.
Yeah, just go nice and smooth route if you can. Nice and smooth. We've obviously got some wind here. We're getting pretty gusty going. We might get some wind shear here.
Okay.
Okay. It's got wind we put in, I think, 80 knots.
80. Oh, we do have a wind.
Yeah, there's definitely wind.
It's windy.
We're getting buffeting wind here. Okay.
Guys, this isn't me. This is the wind.
No, it's the wind. Because that's 50 knots we put in, crosswind. Okay. V1, rotate.
V1, rotate.
Nice and smooth. Straight onto the PFD, look for 15 degrees. Check forward as you get there. That's it.
Positive rate.
Yeah. Up. Positive rate. Yeah, coming up. Give it a 15 if you can.
Okay, and we are in.
There we are. So we're looking for 1,000 feet.
Yep.
And you can do that on the radio altimeter as well as the MFRA. They're very similar precisions usually.
Okay.
Okay, so then you call for setup speed.
Setup speed.
And I'm going to set up to the up speed. Okay. And you can start to drop the nose down now to sort of 12.5, 10 degrees, something out there.
Okay.
Okay, just ease the nose forward. Then we'll start to accelerate. Once we're accelerating, we can actually start to go to the first stage of flaps. So I'm going to say flaps 1.
Flaps 1.
Okay, that's it. Nice turn coming on. So bring the turn round towards that magenta line. Good. As soon as you get to the flaps 1 mark, we can select flaps up, providing we're accelerating, which is indicated by the green line. So you can call flaps up. Speed check, flaps up.
Oh, I turned too late there, I think.
Check the flaps are running up. A little bit more bank angle there. It was a very weak turn that, wasn't it? Okay. So you go up to 25 degrees of bank. Keep the nose down at 10. We want to get to that 210 speed. Okay. And because we've got a very tight turn coming up, we hold the speed back at 210.
Okay.
So don't let the aircraft accelerate too much. So just try to fly on that there. That's good.
So when we get to 10, when we get to 210, I have to pitch the nose up then.
Just ease it up, just gently try to hold it back at 210 knots. Okay.
Okay. So something like that.
So let's say FSM 123, you're cleared direct to Daventry.
Right.
So we'll look for Daventry on the panel here. We select it here.
Yep.
Put it up there at the top. We'll get a dotted line offering us is that the track we want. If we both agree, then you ask me to execute it.
Execute please.
So execute it. That then becomes a magenta line on our prime estate, and off you go.
This time I'll try
25 degrees of bank.
There we go.
25, another 5 degrees, that's 20.
Oh, that's 20, yeah.
That's it. A bit more, 25 degrees of bank. There, that's it.
Yep.
Halfway between. Now you can start dropping the nose because we're coming round the turn,
Okay.
and you can set 250 knots.
Set 250 knots.
Okay,
What's about the speed then?
we're coming up to 6,000 feet, so 1,000 feet to go, 300 feet to go. So you can start levelling off
I'll start
now.
bringing the nose down, yeah.
Okay.
Maybe a little too early, I think.
That's okay, that's fine. And what we'll do is start easing the power off,
Okay.
because we're just sort of coming to 250 knots and 6,000 feet. Okay. Feet heavy coming round.
Do we use does the same concept apply here, that we start turning back? I'm trying to remember now what it is. So if we're, for example, we want to turn, if we're turning at a 30-degree angle, then we want to start turning back 15 degrees before we get to.
There's all sorts of different little techniques people use to do certain things,
Okay.
but they're not sort of necessarily standard operation as such. So let's put the autopilot in. So
Okay.
here, go to command. Okay. And then we want heading select here, and we're going to put the autothrottle in as well, and on the arm speed. There we go. There we go. So we're now flying, and this is how we'd really fly the aircraft. Okay.
Now at this point we should go to standard now, right? But I know
we're set 6,000 feet, okay, not flight level 60. So when we go through the transition altitude, then we go to the standard.
Okay, so we'll be cleared higher, then we go.
That's correct, yeah. So let's bring the flight directors on now, so we can see those. It's just sometimes a bit confusing to use the flight directors on takeoff.
Okay.
And it's better for flying practice to actually use raw data. Obviously, in the real aircraft, we use the flight director on the takeoff.
So in a real aircraft, flight directors would be on
Yes,
from
they
the
would
time
be.
you're on.
But I just wanted to get you to actually physically fly it rather than just tunnel vision you into the
Yeah,
flight
so we'll
director.
just follow the line.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
So that's just increased the scale of our range at the moment, so we can see where we're going.
How far do you want it?
Well, to Daventry, that's fine, okay.
Okay.
Now, we're still in heading select for Daventry,
Yep.
but we weren't clear direct to Daventry. So if you go to your legs page now, and then bring Daventry down to the bottom, back up to the top again.
Down to the
Yeah,
bottom.
so select it there, so it's a scratch pad, select it, reselect it up there.
Okay.
Okay. Then you execute that. Okay. Now hit your L nav, and that will then, the aircraft will now guide itself
Yes, okay.
along the track line
Okay,
there.
yeah.
So we did a basically manual departure there, you manually do the navigation. But now we're going on to automatic navigation. Okay. Now just to explain you the way the autopilot thinks. There's effectively two modes of autopilot. One is a manual mode, which sounds a bit incongruous.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is that the autopilot can be engaged, and everything it does is dictated by what you put into here.
Yeah,
Okay?
so altitude,
So
vertical speed,
heading select, speed, etc., etc., etc. The other option is to use the automatic mode, which use the flight management computers, which is lateral navigation and what you mentioned before, VNAV. Okay. So at the moment we're just in altitude hold on the box,
Yeah.
and we're in speed mode here.
Yeah.
Now let's say they clear this up to flight level 120. So increase your altitude up to 12,000.
Yep.
Okay, so that's going to be flight level 120.
Yep.
So now we'll use VNAV. Hit the VNAV button now. Okay. And what you notice is that the speed box blanks
Yep.
because we're not controlling from there.
And up
The
here.
flight management computer is doing it, and in the FMA there you can see N1,
Yep.
so that's getting it from the computer, the climb power from the computer. LNAV, that's fine, we said that before, and VNAV speed. So the VNAV speed is what the computer's working out as the most economic speed to climb.
Yep.
However, in the UK, up to 10,000 feet, there's a 250 knot restriction, unless air traffic control say there's no speed restriction.
Okay.
But we're going to sort of follow that today. And that should maintain us there, 250 knots, until we get to flight level 120. Now, as you said before, we're going to a flight level, so we need to change the altimeters to standard. We do that by just pressing the button. We both get STD. We do a cross check, and you say, passing flight level 87 now.
Yep.
And I cross check and I say check. And then we know the altimeter.
So do you do that any time, or
Every
do you
time you change the altimeter, it's cross checked.
Do you look for a certain, so let's say you change it and wait for, let's say,
you can pick it when
9,000.
you like.
Okay, right.
You can pick it when you like. Now 10,000, the speed bug should increase up to the VNAV speed for above 10. It may or may not do it. Sometimes they get a little bit sticky, so let's see what happens here. So there we have 10,000. So it hasn't increased, which our software occasionally it does this. But that's not a problem. We're only going to 12,000. We're climbing very fast. We want to reduce that rate of climb.
Yeah.
So let's hit the vertical speed button, wind the wheel upwards, and get to 1,000 feet a minute. So we're reducing the rate of climb, but we can also increase our airspeed up to 300 knots.
Right,
So that's with up to 300.
Now, with regards to that, I was looking at the FMC just now, and
Yeah.
obviously here it says Daventry 255 level, so I'm assuming it's not increasing beyond 250.
No, that's not. That shouldn't come into it. Well, it's possible. It's possible that is coming into it. Yes, it is possible that's coming.
So it's just trying to hold that.
Yeah, that's
restriction
right.
because
Yeah,
maybe,
that is possible.
Yep.
Let's have a look, see if that happens. Let's do that. Delete that. There. Okay. Let's try VNav again. Just see what happens. No, it still doesn't want to do it.
The only reason I say this is because when I was trying this yesterday, I tried this very flight just as a practice, and the exact same thing would happen to me.
Yeah.
And every time I tried to cancel it, it's 250. So I was just wondering.
There's a bit of an aberration in the software.
Right. Okay.
Unfortunately.
So a real aircraft wouldn't be doing that.
No, 10,000 that speed would pick up. What we find with different updates on the software we get, sometimes it works, and the next update you get, it doesn't work. And we keep telling them, and sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. Anyway, we're coming up to altitude require,
Yep.
flight level 120, and we're doing a selected speed of 300. The VNav actually probably would give us about 280 knots.
Okay.
So, because we want to get to Heathrow, we've increased it. We might well fly in this mode anyway, in a manual-ish type mode.
Now, how often does this happen, for example? So we went into VNav, we saw
Yeah.
it wasn't doing what we wanted it to do.
Yeah.
So we've swapped into the manual autopilot, as you said, so we're manually making the
So we're
altitude.
manually controlling it.
And does that happen often in real flights?
Yeah, because what happens is, in particularly in a flight like this, because you're coming up so quickly, if you've got an aircraft coming the other way in the right position, he's perhaps descending, the TCASs will actually go off.
Yes.
So within 1,000 feet of your selected altitude, in this case 120, we would very often reduce the rate of climb by going to VNav in the first vertical speed in the first bit, and slow it down. And the other guy will also do the same, so we wouldn't get the TCAS warnings.
You have that separation between the two. Yeah.
And then once you're back in that mode, then you can perhaps reselect. Now, let's just try now, see what VNav gives us. No, it still drops off to that, so it really doesn't want to play the game today for some reason. So we'll hold the 300 knots.
So how would something like the speed is that speed into V? That button. How would that work? Does that work with VNav, for example?
I've never used that.
Okay.
There are sometimes some modes on these things which you've never ever used, and speed intervention is one of those. I'm just looking at the cruise page.
Yep.
It's telling me that the target speed should be 300 knots.
Yes.
That's what the VNav should be giving us there, with 87.2 on the M1. We're actually achieving that with a bit less today, for some reason. Okay. So on the ND now, you can see we've got top of descent point and deceleration point worked out. Deceleration point is to come back to the 250 for 10 pounds as we approach. But you'll notice after Bovingdon, there's nothing there.
Because we haven't put in a start. We're only flying straight to Bovingdon. Right?
Now, the chances of ever getting the bombing thing is virtually zero.
Okay.
What we can do though is we can construct something which we think we might do. Alright? So what we can go, if you go to the legs page,
Yep.
if you take Bovingdon into the scratch pad, and we're going to assume a heading we think we might get from air traffic control. So let's type in 120.
Straight after Bovingdon.
Yeah, just type 120. Okay. So that's the track, slash.
Right, yep.
And then 25 miles. Okay? Now I'm going to increase the scale up so you can just see this a bit better.
Okay.
So if you now put that in below Bovingdon, you'll see, that's it.
Yep. And I see
There's a waypoint.
Yep, I see that.
Now, you see there's a route discontinuity here.
Yes.
So now we can pick up the centre fix, okay, and join it up to there.
Yep.
And that will put a second little set of dotted lines in there.
If
we're happy with that, we can execute it. Okay.
So we can't execute that. That just tells us.
That's it.
Okay.
All right.
So
Now, we've not been cleared for that. We must remember we're not cleared for that. Our clearance limit at the moment is Bovingdon. So when we get to Bovingdon, unless we get the clearance onwards, we're just guessing that so that the computer has a track to follow.
Would it be maybe a good idea, I don't know, for people practicing at home or something like this, to put in that information but don't press execute?
No, you wouldn't do that. No,
you wouldn't do that. You would always execute.
No, always execute.
Okay.
Because you're giving the computer something to latch onto now to actually sort of give itself a chance of working. It's just annoying the speed now is not working. I'm not sure why it's not.
I suppose this means we'll have to do the descent manually.
It's picked it up now. It might be because it didn't have a track actually. It's possibly that it could work out without a finalised track. Again, you get updates to the software sometimes which you don't pick up till later on. So it's actually working now, which is fine. That's great. Okay. Now the one thing though, when you approach a big airport, there are entry gates going in there. Bovingdon being an entry gate.
Yeah.
And Bovingdon is 250 knots at 80. So if you want to put 250/80, okay, and enter in that line there, okay, execute it.
So we
that's giving you a new parameters to work to. And if you look, we're already at the deceleration phase here.
I see that, and we're already
so we need to put 80 in here.
Now, if I'm correct in assuming that if we do not put 80 here, the aircraft will not descend.
Yeah, and we've passed the descent point, so it's not doing anything. So what we're now going to do is level change. Okay? So we've got to say, power, come all the way back, and we're basically going to glide down.
Yeah, so that's why it's telling us to retard the power.
Correct. Okay. Now, we also should be 250 knots, which is going to be a struggle. But let's put 250 in there nonetheless. And what we're going to use the speed brake now to try to achieve this. Now if you look on the screen there, do you see that green dynamic arm? That's telling you where you're going to be level at 80 at this current descent rate and speed. Yeah. See when I brought the speed brake out?
Yeah,
now it's saying, okay, now you're going to make Bovingdon by 80 at 250 just.
Because of the extra drag that we've now reduced to.
So the speed brake's out. It's just past Bovingdon, but when we come back to 250, what happens? The aircraft will pitch over and it will come closer to us. Yeah. So there it goes, you see it's coming. So we are going to make this 80 by Bovingdon and we're going to be 250 knots.
So do we now put the speed brake back in or do we leave it?
If I put the speed brake in, what happens to that green line?
It starts increasing as the aircraft is increasing speed.
So we need to keep that out to make sure that we're going to comply with this clearance, okay?
I did read that this is aerodynamically, this is a very slippery aircraft.
Oh, it is. It is. The engine is a really, really, really slippery machine. So we're through flight level 100.
Okay.
And we're coming down towards 1,000 to go. So what we're going to do is drop the speed brake in. Okay. Now, air traffic saying to us, FSM 123, turn left heading 110. So we can set 110 in there, and then we reselect heavy select. So we're coming out of LNAV.
Yep.
Okay. With 800 feet to go, so I'm just going to gently ease the speed brake back in.
Okay.
So we made that clearance. We're okay with that. Now, what we're looking for is some help here from the computer. If we look at this gauge here, this is showing us our vertical profile on the track that we've got entered. So that's the imaginary track we put in, that sort of magenta line there. What it's saying at the moment is we're 235 feet low, but that's also using Bovingdon at the moment. Right. What we're interested in is where we are once we pass Bovingdon. So here we are coming up to 80. We're just about to pass Bovingdon, and keep your eye on that gauge and see what it tells us. Okay. So now it's thinking about what it's going to do. As we pass Bovingdon,
it shows that we're below.
Now we know we're going higher.
Oh, sorry, we're above it. It's below.
We're higher on the profile. That's showing us where the profile is. Yeah. But that's based on that magenta track line. If we go a further track distance than that, we haven't got too much to worry about.
Yes, because...
But nevertheless, we keep our eye on it because we don't want to sort of get it up. So let's say they say...